Hello, friends! Hello, friends! A man's home is his castle. So what about a cat's home? Is it the place where they reborn and raised, or the place where they feel loved and cherished? Well, for our story's hero, it was neither of these places, but a unique destination that will surprise you. Let's find out all about it. Our protagonist is named Whisker. He has an incredibly fluffy orange tabby cat with unusually big amber eyes that seem to reflect his inquisitive and affectionate nature. Despite being blessed with such exquisite good looks, Whisker lived a rather modest life in a small village nestled among rolling hills. His days were filled with simple joys, napping in sun-drenched corners, chasing butterflies in meadows, and sharing cozy evenings with Maria, the kind veterinarian who cared for him.
It wasn't until one fateful day that the horizons of Whisker's world expanded beyond the familiar streets and
landscapes of his village.
One morning, a transport truck rumbled to a stop outside the vet clinic, disrupting the tranquility of the day.
Out popped a woman with a bright smile and a pet carrier inside. Was something small, furry, and ginger. When the woman opened the door, a ginger cat with an adorable pink nose cautiously stuck his head out and then jumped into her hands, purring loudly. This wasn't just any cat. This was Whisker. But what had happened to him? It turned out that the woman who had adopted him was going on a trip to San Antonio, a major city far away, but she couldn't take Whiskers with her. That's why she reached out to Maria, asking her to look after the cat while she was gone. Maria readily agreed, but even before she could bring him inside, the cat had already disappeared. She sighed. It would be difficult to find him because he didn't have a collar. Maria decided to put Whiskers inside the carrier. However, when she returned to the parking lot, it was empty. Where could he have gone? Maria thought hard. Then she remembered the window of the house next door. Maybe the cat managed to get inside. When she knocked on the door, an elderly woman opened it. "Excuse me, ma'am," Maria began hesitantly. "But did you by any chance let a ginger cat inside?" The woman waved her hand dismissively. "I have no idea what you're talking about."
there are so many cats here anyway. So many that not even God himself can keep track of them, she replied cryptically.
Maria didn't know whether to be surprised by the woman's reaction or to start looking elsewhere.
As soon as Maria stepped outside, she heard the distinct meow of a cat. And there he was, sitting on the windowsill, looking at her calmly. Maria immediately went over to the cat and started stroking his soft back. "Oh, Whiskers, don't ever scare me like that again." "I almost thought I'd lost you," she exclaimed. The rest of the time spent together was filled with peace and tranquility. But unfortunately, it was broken only by the fact that tomorrow Maria would have to leave for an important conference in San Antonio and she would be able to take Whisker with her. Thinking about leaving the cat alone for a few days, Maria realized that it wasn't the best idea. So she called her friend Lucy and asked if she could take care of Whisker while she was gone. Lucy eagerly agreed. When the day finally came, Maria left Whisker in Lucy's care, gave him food and water, and locked him in a room for safety. But when she returned, she saw that the cat had already managed to escape. There was no time to waste. Maria got in her car and hurried off to San Antonio. The moment Maria and Whisker arrived at their destination, the cat was immediately struck by the unfamiliar atmosphere of the city. All around him were tall buildings and cars rushing from place to place. With a start, Maria understood that she had made a mistake. This place was too noisy and busy for a simple country cat like Whisker. Seeing the obvious discomfort of her furry companion, Maria decided to return home. But fate had other plans for them. Their car broke down right in the middle of San Antonio. Maria tried calling for help, but no one responded. She had no choice but to leave the car and go look for someone who could help. And she left the keys and the engine running, figuring that no one would steal her car when it was clearly broken. But a few minutes later, to her horror, she saw a stranger getting into the driver's seat. With a broken engine, the car rolled forward and crashed into another vehicle. Luckily, the impact was slight and no one was hurt. But the incident attracted the attention of law enforcement officers. Soon, Maria found herself in the police station. At that moment, she realized that she had no one to turn to for help, and that she would have to solve all her problems herself. Just then, an officer approached her and invited her to go see something funny. It turned out that the accident had scared Whisker so much that he had taken advantage of the chaos and run away. Now, the police officers were trying to catch him, but the nimble cat kept evading their grasp. To make things worse, when the stray cat got frightened, he scratched himself on the concrete pavement and had started bleeding. The officer picked him up and handed him to Maria, saying, "Here you go. You need to take care of your cat." Looking at her fluffy friend with his wounded paw, Maria knew she couldn't leave him in that state. Taking the cat home was out of the question, so she had only one option left. She took him to the nearest vet clinic. It was love at first sight. The vet who examined Whisker couldn't believe her eyes. After all, she had never seen a cat like him before. His luxurious fur and innocent eyes immediately won her over. When the doctor gave him the necessary treatment, Maria told her about her troubles. Upon learning of Maria's predicament, the doctor decided to lend a helping hand. She took Maria and the cat to her home, which also doubled as a pet shelter. There, they were greeted by numerous dogs and cats, who wagged their tails and meowed happily, welcoming the newcomers. Maria spent a wonderful evening at her friend's house, feeling grateful for the hospitality. But the next morning, she had to get back on the road. She promised to call as soon as she got back home, and true to her word, she kept her promise. By now, Whisker was feeling much better and was full of energy, though he still had a bandage on his paw. But this did unstop him from scaling the walls of the house and sneaking out into the yard, leaving the owner scratching her head in surprise. When Maria returned from her trip, she found Whisker waiting for her, as if he knew she was coming. He rubbed against her legs and purred loudly. Since then, the two of them had become inseparable, spending their days playing at the park and their evenings relaxing at home. Maria couldn't imagine her life without Whisker anymore, but she knew he was destined for greater things. And so, the time had come to send him on a grand adventure.
Now, before we say goodbye to Whisker, let's take a moment to appreciate the amazing people in our lives who,
Like Maria, bring sunshine into our daily routines with their kindness and generosity. They are the real heroes who touch our hearts and make us better people.